Good morning, you guyses. When Bob's.
What the hex is you guyses talking about?
In the land of digital dreams where crypto reigns supreme, Richard Hart stands tall, fearless and true against the darkness that threatens to undo.
Your husband bet the house money on Hex at the peak? Oof, girl. This is either a great buying opportunity or we're all poor now. Where did the SAC funds go? Satisfying. 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 It's a lesson in financial literacy for no-coiners. Wait, how does a 401k work? Let streaming services know that you want to see the highest of stakes now.
Oh fuck, Richard Hart just unfollowed everybody. No! What is he doing?
The biggest winner, of course, was Hex, and we want to know, well, what the heck?
What the heck? What the heck happened?
What the heck?
What the hex?
Hello.
Hello. And we got
NrdGrl. We have. What is this?
What is NrdGrl doing here?
Yeah.
Exactly. She's auditioning to replace you, Peter, and she's got the job.
Peter is actually the last one streaming on the Discourse Syndicate still. He has his own show on Sundays. It's called What the Slovak.
No. We're having actually a little break because people are vacationing and there's nothing going on, and yeah.
People are wrecked.
Maybe there will be a stream at the end of the month.
Do Slovaks vacation? And if so, where do they go?
We slave away, you know.
Slave away in the
Summer projects.
Salt mines, you know.
Mines.
Yes.
Well, here we are, you guys. What a week. What a week in Hex land.
And it's still going on with Jay Powell's, FOMC meeting minutes, wrecking the entire everything market. Congratulations. We need more down.
An identity blog is covering that live as we speak.
Wow.
Trending
Is it going on right now? Oh,
I think so, yeah. I think so.
I mean, the S&P is at all-time high, so couldn't be that bad.
And Biden just came out. Hey, I'm accepting crypto donations too.
Yeah.
Ain't that fun?
Just like Nixon would say, I would also like to pledge my support to that group of people. That really did well for him too. Yes, congratulations. Yeah, when JFK came out and said, he's got this allegiance to all these plans, and Nixon, sweating on stage, turns and says, I have a similar view to that. So thank you, Biden. Didn't learn from history.
No, with the donations, though, I feel like a lot of people don't know this, but anytime there's a not-for-profit that accepts donations, they have to convert those donations into US dollars or into,
Sell
fiat
pressure. Yep.
as soon as they receive them. So for people who are wanting to make donations to political candidates or, any kind of not-for-profit agency, cool, maybe donate something that you want to see the price go down of, or just don't donate the currency that you're hoping will appreciate.
Good point.
I have one other idea. I just thought of it just early this morning. Okay, so I suggest only one person and no more than one person sends that wallet 1 hex, 1 pulse, 1 pulsex, and 1 ink. Why? Why? Because then they will be an unsecured money changer, right? And if they try to exchange it, they'll only be able to do it on DeFi.
Right.
So they lose if they don't change their code, then they are guilty of the same crime that every one of us are for self-securing our own private currency that we believe in. So wouldn't that be hysterical if we say, hold on a second, Gary Gensler, this fund here represents somebody who manages it, and it has a face and it has a name and it has a campaign and it has an actual front runner for the campaign. All those people are implicated in your new strategy of cracking down on crypto. So enforcement, please. Here you go.
Just do it. Do it, Papa.
Just do it. Just do it. Or get Richard off the get Richard off the hook, which he's not a guilty man anyway. So congratulations. Either way we win.
And no self-pressure. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Sometimes my ideas hold water, but there you go.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We got 40 people out the gate. NerdGirl is bringing the crowd. There you go.
Woo-hoo.
It's bear market numbers, but still we're happy for each and every one of you. So smash the like, follow up. I actually looked at our YouTube analytics stats for the channel, and I realized that Dorsey and Alan Fizemay do not have the notification bell turned on.
Boo! Can you also see what
Hey,
Hey, DJ, what other things can you see about them, without them knowing? Can you see what they're wearing or what they've been eating for breakfast?
No, not quite. But I could see that. No. But NerdGirl, thank you so much for coming on. This is for me, this is ultimate right now because this is 4 years in the making.
Yeah, you said that on Twitter, and I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like one of the most accessible people. Whenever anybody has ever asked me to stream, I go.
No, that's what she said. Yeah.
I'm trying to stream with you for 4 years. It started around, let me go back in time. This was 20, when did Hex started? It was 19, 20, 21. I started streaming myself.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in touch always on Twitter. And then I said, hey, you are a successful entrepreneurial, managerial position women in business. And women in business. I think we need more women in business, more women in manager positions. That's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. Let's stream about that on any show. I don't care. And you were like, I'm not streaming with random Mexicans. And I was like, oh, okay.
Did I really say that? I don't think
like, wow.
Wait a minute. What was that about giving more women the business? I'm all for that too.
I don't think that happened, because I've never done that. I said that conflicts with a meeting of I'm looking at our DMs right now.
Don't worry, Nerd Girl. We will cut it out of the show.
And
no,
then
that was even in public. That's not a DM. So check the record. But I was like, okay, fine. Then I have to up my game and, work harder. And maybe one day I'm not that random anymore. No, but then we wanted to have you on for the hardware wallet situation, which terribly happened to you. But maybe we can touch on that a bit later. And then, of course, we have conflicting.
No.
By the way, hold on. Not only will we get to that, but DJ,
I'm losing my red herring here.
DJ, hold on a second. We will get to that in all seriousness. We'll get to that later. But tomorrow, actually in like 13 hours time, Trezor is announcing a new SKU coming out in the safe lineup. So that's really exciting stuff. And again, I sent you the link. Maybe we'll show that to the audience as well. I just wanted to say I'm a very happy guy. If they drop the ball like the Safe 3, or if it's amazing. 12 hours and 16 minutes. I can't wait.
That's right. So then we had conflicting diaries. And now the Richard Hart thing happened where he unfollowed everybody. I was actually live. That's a little clip that I showed earlier in the intro. I was actually live on Twitch when that happened with my music show. And then
the audience would have never known that. You just called it out. Richard Hart just
Oh,
unfollowed everyone. Oh no.
And I was just randomly checking how many viewers I currently have on X, and then I saw, what is all this drama going on in my timeline? And then I realized, I'm no longer followed. So after all this time of being followed by Richard, because he literally followed me from the beginning of when I started streaming, this must have been around Big Payday, because back then the follow from Richard, I'm sure you can attest, Nerd Girl, that was a big thing.
Richard never followed me.
Never. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. And let me tell you that it's because I'm always transparent, and I always said I am not a Hex maximalist. I am not a Richard Hart maximalist. I will never be a maximalist of any kind. I will always tweet whatever I want to. This is my Twitter, and it's my business what I tweet about. And I've been transparent about that, and he never followed me. And I never cared because, and here's the thing. I don't, like you said that Maddie did a stream kind of like breaking down the whole thing with the Richard follows.
They dwelled 2.5 hours over it on Tuesday.
Or I didn't watch that stream, so I don't know if this was said or not, but one of my criticisms of the Hexicans who Richard followed has always been that they call themselves Richard Hart maximalists because that's what you have to be followed by Richard Hart. But in the very early days of Hex, Richard used to say this on stream all the time because it was Bitcoiners who would be afraid to reply to anybody that had Hex in their name or talked about Hex or say anything about Hex. And he would say this, if you're afraid to tweet about something because if you won't tweet about something because you're afraid that your followers will unfollow you, you're not a leader, you're a follower. So anybody who was like that with Hex and Richard Hart products, it was the same exact principle. They were like, how can you be a Richard Hart maximalist and actually defy this like core important thing? And I think something along those lines is also in Sci-Vive. I couldn't tell you the chapter or page number or whatever, but like pretty sure that there is something.
32, paragraph 4. Go ahead.
What? Okay.
Page 32, paragraph 4. Yep.
SJ probably could tell us. I don't know.
Oh yeah, sing it.
But I'm just saying that like that always kind of bothered me, like because I just felt like it was a betrayal of what it really means to stand for these principles that people think they're stand for freedom of speech, and yet be afraid to use your speech because you're afraid that one guy is going to unfollow you when that guy has told you that if you're afraid to say something because someone is going to unfollow you, you're not a leader. That like all seemed so contrary and paradoxical to me that it always irked me.
But isn't it only regarding other cryptos? Like, you can say whatever on your timeline, but if you're starting to talk about Solana or Cardano,
I think this can be boiled down a little bit more simply put. The way I read it, I mean, I just want to share, interject my own opinion, but the way I see it, it's like if you come into town and you're a struggling artist in the 60s and Andy Warhol takes you under his wing, even just in meeting says, you know, look us up and come to the studio and hang out and smoke dope, you're like, that's a big validation that you've kind of come onto the art scene. Even if you don't see him again, but you go to his, you know, his little inner sanctum, his little community that he set up of pop artists, and then you kind of start to move from there. That to me seemed like the sinew, that the coalescence, the coming together of our community always stemmed from that branch of people that he would say, hey, follow these people, or this is my list of people that you ought to take a look at. But I will also put to you this: what is worse, never being followed and being, you know, unfollowed, or being followed from the beginning but then muted and left on mute for the entire duration until you're unfollowed? Because I did a test. All of my tweets in the last 3 years, none of them got a like from Richard. I never got a like. But he liked the retweets of my stuff. So I tried this out. I used my wife's account and I made the same tweets for a week. So it's my words, her avatar. 3 likes and 1 retweet. So I was on mute for sure for 3 years. So thank you, Richard. I love you, but
So what I think is just that, like, this obsession with, like, I said it, you know, a year ago. Like I said, and I retweeted it recently just to show that I said this year ago. I said, if I were Richard, I would unfollow everyone just so that this, like, mad obsession with who he's following stops. And, you know, and he actually liked that tweet. And then, you know.
So it's your fault.
Yes, you did it.
It's not my fault. I'm sure that he came to the decision on his own, but I'm just saying that, like, I feel like if you're obsessed with whether or not someone follows you, there's, like, I don't know. I don't really check. I'm not like, there's nobody who follows me who I'm like, oh, I got to make sure that such and such still follows me. Or, like, if I find out that someone unfollowed me, I'm not like, oh, I'm so hurt that someone unfollowed me. It's like,
oh, you know, okay, yeah. Look, we're delving on we're delving on the surface here, you guys. You guys, Nerd Girl, you're capable of such depth. I want to know, what is the underlying strategy here, do you think? Forget a fact that we're all, you know, all a Twitter about, you know, not getting followed or whatever. What's the strategy of Richard unfollowing everyone the way that you see it, and how is it beneficial to the ecosystem?
Okay. Yeah, so I think there's 2 parts to it. So the first part is exactly what he said in the tweet. When you're not active on Twitter, you don't know which of the people that you follow are now promoting, you know, whatever garbage coins. And so since I'm not active and I can't monitor this, it's safest just to unfollow everyone. And I think that there's validity there, right? So I'm just going to unfollow everyone. That way I don't have to worry about it. That way there's not 1 or 2 or 10 people coming at me like, why did you unfollow me, but you're still following this person? Then I think there's this deeper part of it, which is that actually unfollowing people who may have been interested in things other than Richard Hart products, but afraid to talk about them for fear of being unfollowed, are now free to talk about whatever they want to talk about. The best way to market a chain is to market the applications that are built on top of it, especially because that chain is Pulsechain, and because there are so many people in the broader crypto sphere that hate Richard and would never invest in one of his direct products, but might invest in something that's on the chain. So this opens up the ability for people to talk about whatever it is that they like. And yeah, some of that stuff is absolute garbage. Yeah, for sure.
But he even calls it trash in that tweet.
Yeah, but there are, but marketing applications that are built on a chain. That's how a chain gets marketing. Most chains don't have direct marketing agencies, and they don't pay for direct marketing because everything that's built on them markets for them. So I think that like, okay, so I recently changed jobs, right? And I'm now working with a company that is not, it's not like a marketing agency, but they're building some things on Pulsechain, mostly memey things. And they want to do outreach to influencers. And I told them, hey, influencers, they don't like Pulse. They don't like Pulsechain. You know, they don't like Richard, the price performance, the SEC investigation. That causes people to deviate. They're like, yeah, we're not actually asking them to market Pulse, though. We're just asking them to market very undervalued meme coins on Pulse. So when I go approach influencer friends from outside of the crypto community who would say absolutely not to anything that has directly to do with Richard, have said yes to meme coins and applications that are built on Pulsechain. So I really think that this is a positive. I think that it's an opportunity for the Pulsechain community to differentiate itself from Richard. That doesn't mean you have to be like anti-Richard or hate Richard, but it's like, hey, we're a community and maybe you don't hate all of us, right? Like we haven't done anything. So I think that it's a good opportunity. I think that it opens new doors for Pulsechain. I'm enthusiastic about it. And I think it maybe potentially makes, Pulsechain and Hexicans look a little bit less culty as people aren't constantly tweeting about how grateful they are for the follow from their, dear leader.
Okay.
It's how empty our lives are. So we can, that if you get followed, you can brag about it.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Like, and I remember when everybody was like freaking out because John Cena started following them, and like every Hexican, every Pulsican who John Cena followed was like, John Cena, thanks so much for the follow. And I was just like, this is pathetic. The guy follows like 400,000 people. Like, why are you so grateful?
That's it?
Special? Like, no, you're not fucking special. He just follows everyone, and just like stop being so crazy that this follow from a celebrity fills you with joy. Just get over yourself. I don't know. That's how I feel.
You know what? I really can't abide these likes being anonymous now, because I always wanted to see who it was I was interacting with, and now the likes are anonymous. Like, oh, so.
Okay, so here's the thing about the likes being anonymous. They're not anonymous to you, right? So I can still see who likes my stuff, but you can't go on somebody else's tweet and see who likes their stuff. Yes. So, and I'm just going to tell you a story that's like just totally random, but my ex-boyfriend used to go on my Twitter account at the end of every day and like go to my profile tab and go to my likes and read through and see every single thing that I liked.
That's an ex-boyfriend right there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then let me know.
Ex-boyfriend material.
And then let me know when there was something that he didn't like that I liked and why it was inappropriate or like insulting to him that I liked it. So and then I started thinking about that in terms of a broader context too. Like, yeah, okay, for individual relationships, that can be good, or bad, depending on your perspective, right? But also from this broader context of like, in cryptocurrency, things can get really tribal. And there are some people who might actually like something that somebody else says, but because they don't want to have publicly liked it, right? Like the early Bitcoiner, or, like Bitcoiners with early Hex, or like anybody who's part of one community and doesn't want to openly like something from another community because they're afraid that then their followers will dislike them, whatever. So they will not like things, and that hurts the algorithm because then the algorithm doesn't actually know how many people really do like this, and they don't know what to promote properly. So I think that it makes sense, like when you kind of try to look at it from a broader perspective, because there are people maybe who now will like things that they wouldn't have liked before because they didn't want their friends and neighbors to know that they liked it. And that's true with, porn, obviously, is like the biggest one that they're saying, oh, that's why all of the likes have gone up. But I don't think it's just pornographic content that's happening with. I think it's that people were afraid to like political content that was opposed to maybe what they think their followers or their followings are into, and now they can like it. And maybe that's true within crypto communities that are specific, that are super tribal as well. I know there have been times when I haven't liked stuff because I don't want, you know, I don't want people to be like, oh, why did you like this? And I just don't want to explain it. And now you don't have to explain it. So here's
what was that about porn again, please?
So there has been a significant uptick in likes on X since this liking anonymity of liking has, you know, started, and people are saying that that is because of porn. So now people are not afraid to like things that they're ashamed of liking, and that's all porn. But I think, yes, some of it is that people are less afraid to like porn, but they're also less afraid to like political content,
everything.
Yeah.
Hold up. I want to go back.
Okay.
Like this Richard following someone, and there may have been an obsession around it or not in my case. I was just happy that he followed me, but other people were like, really, I know what you mean, like really obsessed with it. This was not just some following thing. This was a value system that we had in the beginning of HEX. Forget about Pulsechain for a minute. Like in the beginning of HEX, what was the situation? We had a bunch of people that had been wrecked by BitConnect. Yeah, there was a lot of early hexagons have had those experiences. And then the way Richard marketed through the website and everything, HEX in the beginning was, this will go up by its own and all of this stuff, which sounded like a scam coin, but he always explained that to attract a certain kind of crowd that is susceptible to fall for this kind of advertising, just without the rug pulling, right?
Yep.
And then this evolved later on once HEX was established and had its first successes, that you don't want to be using stuff like Celsius and FTX.
Yep.
And the people on Twitter from the HEX community who kind of adopted these values, as in not promoting a Celsius type thing or a meme coin or a copycat of HEX with questionable founders and developers. We had all this stuff. Those got the follow by Richard, who did the right sort of promoting. And those who eventually went another avenue and started chilling that stuff, they got the unfollow. What is so bad or crazy about that? Freedom of speech, you can talk about vaccine, you can talk about political, social issues, whatever you want, but it's the which cryptos to promote.
What you're saying is that a follow from Richard was an endorsement. It meant that you were loyal and faithful, and you only talked about Richard Hart products, and you were trustworthy, and you've been there from the beginning. So what I'm saying is,
in my case, that was right.
Okay, so you've already addressed it. I'm going to say it again. Richard said, I'm not active.
DJ Coin.
I'm not active on X, so I can't monitor who I'm following who is talking about trash and who I'm following who is not talking about trash. So in an attempt to just be the most safe, because there were people saying, well, I'm followed by Richard Hart, so it must be safe for me to talk about this, or, you must be able to trust me. So to be safe, he just unfollowed everyone, which I think was a smart move because he's not monitoring it. You're saying
that was the last system, the last piece of structure that we had in this freaking community is now gone. That was the last one.
No, so it was super validating to you, is what you're telling me. And like, I get it.
For how and what to promote, just that, nothing else.
He's channeling the ideals through Richard by enjoying or being reminded that he had the follow. That's all it was. It's a symbol of a true north that may or may not exist anymore, right? Well, so it's up to him to make what he wants out of it. I'm fine with it because people can, for example, wear a cross around their neck or a Star of David, and that's not the religion in itself, but it's a constant reminder that you're true to your faith, and It's a good thing. It's like, oh, every time I get riled up, do I clench my cross, or do I kiss my cross in times of problems, or Star of David, or whatever I do? That's a healthy thing, I think. I think it's always good that a unifying leader just...
I think that some of this has to do with wanting to move a little bit away from the cult-like, the cult-like hero worship of Richard, where he's the dear leader of our cult. But glory is that we can both agree, and everyone here can agree, that Richard's end goal, as from him from the beginning, glory does not hold. There's no cohesion with the glory and the, I'm inserted in your thinking structure. It's me. It's look at my face and I'm the guy that did it. Without that, you can't have the glory because you don't know where to direct it to. So Richard wants to be the lightning rod. And to me, I thought that was the stem of all the likes, where these are all the people that you should be paying attention to. If you get help in the community or get to know the community, look at all my likes. And those are probably good people that I think are pretty good to start with. That's all I took from it. So there are a lot of people who are in very prominent positions who follow 0 people. And it also signifies, hey, look how many people are willing to follow me without ever expecting a follow back.
Well, that's fine. But did those people start off by following a whole bunch of people?
Yeah, they did.
All right. Yeah. Well, then this is par for the course. Then there's nothing different.
This is very normal. This is not abnormal. It's not, I am surprised that I'm not surprised, actually. I'm disgusted that we're still talking about it 5 days later.
Well, okay, so this will be the last one. This show will be, this last platform will be the last time that anybody in the community ever talks about it. How's that?
Well, I think the lawyers said it to him. Just unfollow it.
Maybe.
That could be true as well. I just feel that brushing it all with one comb is not right. I understand your position because you work in crypto. You naturally have to do with other communities and so it's impossible for you to shill Hex only or whatever, or talk about Hex only.
Even if I could, right? And it is my Twitter, so I can do whatever I want with it. But even if I didn't feel that was that made me unprofessional, I wouldn't limit myself to only talk about things because someone who follows me will be upset if I talk about other things. I would never do that because that is not being honest. And I've always.
No, I get it, but in my case, my whole Twitter only exists for Hex.
Okay.
It's a totally different thing. I don't want to talk about anything else.
Listen to this perspective. You don't want to talk about anything else? Fine. Don't talk about anything else. What I just said is the best thing for a chain is marketing applications that are built on that chain. So maybe you still only talk about, Hex and Richard Hart products, but there are other people who are now free to talk about other things that they may be interested in or may have already been interested in, but were afraid to tweet about because they didn't want to get unfollowed. So now
I've seen that for Funding Jim also put that out. But why do you think that is a good thing? Because what if we start talking about Solana on the next show? That doesn't help the Hex ecosystem.
I'm not talking about Solana. I'm talking about things that are built on Pulsechain, because the best marketing for the chain is marketing applications that are built on the chain. So it's not like I'm saying that anybody who wants to go talk about Solana should.
But that just happened on that weekend, which is possibly connected to that whole story.
There were already people who were getting into other chains before this. So, but it's free
caused a bunch of
things that are built on the chain. And that means that some people are going to talk about things that are built on other chains too. But when you look at it from the perspective of what's best for Pulsechain, the best marketing for a chain is marketing the applications that are built on it.
Right.
Okay, we got that. We got that message very, very loud and clear. The best way to promote the chain is to promote the applications and the tokens and the projects that are built on that chain. Yes. I like that because by no stretch of the imagination could Pulsechain be considered a ghost chain even now, because we have lots and lots of beautiful things and still even more being built. We got like 30,000 tokens now created on Pulsechain, right?
Mhm.
Easy.
Easily. Plus the copies.
Yeah. So many things. So now people, whether it's you or other people who we followed, are free to talk about whatever they want to talk about. And yeah, that means sometimes there's going to be things that are on different chains, but like that's their prerogative anyway. And it always should have been their prerogative. People should always.
But you're not free to talk about being unfollowed, however.
I'm not saying that you're not free to talk about it. I'm saying it's gross. Talk about it all you want.
Gross things. Speaking of gross, can we shift gears, DJ Cryptomatic, by your leave, sir, with only 10 minutes, but until perhaps Toby Wan Hexobi shows up? We don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. He's so depressed nowadays with these down candles. May I shift gears a little bit?
We have a joke from Finbear first.
Okay.
A joke from Finbear first, please. The joke from Finbear. By the way, Nerd Girl's mother, please cover your ears. This guy is a little bit on the bawdy side. Please go ahead, DJ.
So, do you guys know what's gray and it comes in pints? An elephant.
And ladies and gentlemen, Finbear, a round of applause for the most disgusting joke of the day.
I don't get it.
You didn't get it? Shall I explain it to you?
No, let's not. I don't care. I don't want to.
Okay. That was pretty. The deadpan delivery of the most disgusting joke ever.
If you wanted to talk about this,
well, that's one thing. There's a Nerd Girl
chain that we can talk about.
Yay! So drama queens, lampoons, all of us idiots and personalities. Apparently, I'm very honored to have been selected to be made to show that I have a problem in bed getting it up. This is Drama Queens. Drama.lol actually is their website. I'm not shilling this in any way, shape, or form, other than to say that this is the best freaking comedy I've seen in the ecosystem, and I'm delighted to have been made fun of. DJ Cryptomatic also has been made fun of here. He is DJ Geriatric, and also added to the pantheon of people that have been poked fun at is Nicole here, our guest, who is known as Icky Nicky, who seems to have forgotten how to use the bridge that she built and instead takes a dip in toxic waste. Or no, it's raw sewage. There you go. What do you think about this, Nerd Girl?
So yeah, DJ Cryptomatic asked me about this before the stream, and I was like, I've seen them before, but I had never seen the one of me until it was shared in the images for promoting this stream.
Oh, and they went easy on you. I had the penile dysfunction DJs in a mental for old age home thing, and you're just waist deep in sewage. That's all.
Yeah. Oh, just waist deep in sewage. That's all.
You know.
No.
Yeah.
So
they got your good side though.
I was like, I've seen other of these and thought like, oh yeah, that's funny. And then I wondered when I saw them, would I think that it was funny if it was me in the image? And then when I just saw that one of me for the first time right before the stream, I was like, I don't know what this means. It probably means nothing. It's just like low key teasing people. But
it's low key teasing. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Have I ever alluded to the fact that I have penile dysfunction, albeit possible? But do I ever? Does anybody know me for that? No, because my name is Papa Boner, so he decided Papa Flaccid would be comedy. I appreciate this. I think that this is really great. I don't think it's laughing at me. I think it's laughing with me, and I think it's very healthy stuff. And it's based on Garbage Pail Kids, which for Gen X out there, we can appreciate this type of tongue-in-cheek type of disgusting type of stuff.
Around when I was young too, and I'm millennial. I mean, I'm like an older millennial, but yeah. So Garbage Pail Kids, that was the thing. I recognized it right away. Yeah,
right away. Cool.
It's like I think it's like it's you know, harmless, fun, whatever. And we were talking about this, and I was saying, you know, anytime you have a public profile, there are going to be people who really like you and praise you and do nice things about you. And then there are going to be people who really dislike you and, you know, have really nasty things to say and, you know, whatever. It's just kind of part of the deal.
And Papa B.
See the comment there? See, I should be looking into the gas station pills is what the point is. Yeah. The blue bullet, as they say. But no, in serious time, everybody. Nerd Girl. So you made a post months ago that you were subject to an attack and you lost some assets. We're all very sorry for this, and actually we're all very angry about this because nobody in our community should be losing anything that they don't want to lose. So my question to you is, after an exchange back and forth that we did very publicly, I begged you to acquire a hardware wallet and get that going. And our last little back and forth was that you were deciding which assets you wanted to protect. And I said, fucking just defend them all. Come on, let's get going. Did you set up your Trezor?
I did. I have a
Good.
dedicated crypto computer now, and I have a Trezor, and I set it up, and I had decided that I would contact you if I felt confused.
If you need help. Yeah, I know. Did you use Did you use a passphrase?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. Now, now that that's all behind you and you've moved any liquid assets that you may still have onto that password protected hidden wallet on your Trezor, does it seem to you that figuring out, because you're an intelligent person, did that seem that was a difficult step, not only for you, but thinking about your onboards, that you wouldn't tell them at the very beginning to get going into crypto, all you got to do is spend the $50 and spend 10 minutes setting this thing up. It's built for idiots and it's got huge amounts of mathematics behind it. The whole crypto prefix into this thing of ours stands for cryptography, and this is cryptography. If you don't have it, you're not behind the wall of cryptography. Do you find it that it was an easy thing to do, and that you would definitely insert it as stage 0 in the crypto game?
Yes. I mean, it was easy to do. It was easy enough to do. I think that for a lot of people, the idea of spending money on an external device when maybe they're only putting $100 into crypto is a little bit intimidating. But I've always, I did always say, like, a lot of people recommend using a hardware wallet, and I always used a hardware wallet prior to 2021. And then in 2021, I kind of decided it was annoying because every time I wanted to sell something or trade something, I had to find my hardware wallet and I had to find the cord. And sometimes I couldn't find the cord, and I was like, I just want everything to be available on my computer without having to have, access to my device.
Convenience over security. Got it.
Yeah, and that's essential. And then, I made it so many years without having any incidents because I was very diligent in my what's it called, keyboard etiquettes. So, and then I just made one stupid mistake one day. Even my psych, even I was telling myself not to do it as I was doing it, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, but I did it anyway for various reasons that I've explained on other streams that we don't need to get into. But yes, I think that having a hardware wallet, especially if you're holding any significant amount of crypto, is very important step. And
I think a comment of yours is echoed by so many people that get attacked. They say that I was doing everything right until now, but keyboard etiquette, remember back in 2017 was copy pasting your private keys for Bitcoin and putting it into X online centralized wallet database to be able to access the blockchain to see what you had. Now we're in a position where just by turning on your computer and going to Google, you can actually be infected by the Mars Stealer, just because it's already out there targeting the top 50 to 100 soft wallets now.
Yeah, I actually saw that tweet of yours just yesterday, I think, because I was looking.
Right. Yeah. It's all good. But also just so that the viewers remember that the password that you type into MetaMask, which is probably the top focused targeted wallet for Mars Stealer, just by typing in the password, that is the key to decrypt the seed store file that your machine holds locally. So even if you have, keyboard etiquette set up, your OPSEC sucks, and you're going to get rinsed. It's just a matter of time. And I'll just leave you with this last thought on the subject, from me anyway. Back when I was really, rolling up my sleeves and doing the seriously disgusting work in the back room and security, I'll tell you that credit cards are already hacked. All credit cards. All generators for all numbers that are random for those credit card companies are already hacked. The difference is, just like your, the amount of seeds and private keys that are generated, given all these, word representations to build them. If you go to, there's a specific website you can go to, and all the private keys are available. Every single combination of every seed word is there. Not passphrases. Passphrases are what you make up, and you can't catalog those. But the simple fact that they're cataloged means that any attacker, given the amount of time to go through all this astronomical 17 quadrivigintillion number combinations, could potentially take your stuff anytime. That's true. But the ability to parse those materials, parse those things, and be able to query and get one that actually holds any value is inconceivable. It's nearly impossible. So I'm telling you right now that, my biggest point is thank you very much for taking your security posture seriously, Nerd Girl, and getting on with it. But learning from those mistakes and taking ownership of the flaw in the judgment from the very beginning is what we're trying to get at from the very beginning of the onset of crypto. When we were in the AA throwing down $100 thinking that this was just funny money and putting it on, MetaMask and leaving it there for 4 years or 2 years, right? We would have been hard set if we put a staking ladder on that locks it to that seed. Yeah. We would be in a bad situation. So my word to all of you, and Toby's coming up in a second, my word to everybody is, when you make an investment in crypto, you assume you're going to do a 10,000x. Otherwise, why the hell would you even take this gamble? You have to know that your gamble is at least one-sided in your favor, and that it's going to be big someday. You should consider every nickel that you put into the damn game to 10,000x. And what would you do if suddenly that happened? Because it will, and you won't be prepared, and the attackers will be one step ahead of you. So why not get that foundation set first for $50 fucking dollars? Thank you.
Is that how much the new Trezor safe will cost?
No. I'm talking about, my benchmark is $57 actually with shipping if you go over 100. And I always recommend people get 2, right? Because recently somebody had a punked out, Somi's friend just lost $1 million, right? The story is, they used a Trezor religiously, a ledger religiously, but it conked out, which they will. And instead of waiting for the replacement that they ordered to come in, they got so excited because their shitcoin went up so high that they just had to interact with it on MetaMask. So they put in their seed into MetaMask, thus, completely fucking up their whole game, right? And then they were shocked to find out that they were rinsed almost immediately. Lost $1 million. It wasn't our ecosystem, but our ecosystem has lost $3.5 million this year alone already that I know about. That I don't know about, or people are covering up or just leaving the community, could be 10 times more than that. I don't know, but I'm keeping a tally, and this is not right. So without further ado, Toby1XOB is with us, and we've got to find out how shitty our charts look.
TA with Toby.
Hello from Monaco. It's Crypto7.
Crypto7 in the house. What happened?
Oh,
he's not allowed on this channel.
Dude, okay, I'm gonna try this and see if it works. But my eyes are dilated. I just had an eye doctor appointment earlier today, so I've been.
Yeah, we can see your screen and your reflection though, so I can get your keys. Yeah.
Do I look insane? Do I look like I'm tripping balls?
You look better now that you've shaved. That's all.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not too glary. I've got all my resolutions turned down. So
we're
all right. What's up? Hey,
girl,
good to see you.
Toby, how's it going?
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the full stream. I was a little busy up till the minute, but always a pleasure to be on screen with you. You are a lovely human being, and I was so sorry to hear about your misfortune, and I'm eternally grateful for what you have brought to the crypto space and the Hex community for years. So I don't think you get the credit you deserve. So honored to be on with you today.
Thanks.
Speaking of credit, break with the charts, God damn it!
Right. Let's do the shared screen.
Yes.
Yeah, Papa is always so nice to me. I'm hoping he was more pleasant with you.
9 minutes left.
Pleasantness.
Dude, I can do it. I can do it. Okay, boom. All right. I'm ready.
Oh, here it is. Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
This looks
Okay,
great.
and
We won!
We win. So as usual, I start with my nearest and dearest, the true, the one and only, the OG Hex, EHEX, right? So as we've talked about for weeks now, we've been in this gigantic pattern that's like we've talked about for 3 years, right? This giant pattern. This
biggest bull flag in history.
Biggest bull flag in the history of man. Cannot be a big bull flag by definition, being this. However, definitely a parallel channel. Definitely have found, some support there back in August of 23, bounced off of it, tried to work our way up just past the midline, came back down, worked our way off of it again in April of this year numerous times, tried to work our way up. And then the big resistance you can see there is that yellow squiggly guy. And that's our old buddy, the 21 EMA, and that stands for exponential moving average. So we have had difficulty getting and staying above that. We've had some opportunities here and there, and then we've always come back down and kind of like just hug that line. Once again, just the other day when we got the 20% pump or whatever it was in a day back on June 5th, got above it. I was hopeful, like, hey, maybe we turn this into support and we can start, forming a new higher low and work our way up. Not the case. And as always, you know me. What's my favorite? What's my favorite pattern? Say it together.
Venus.
Parallel channels. So I looked and like, hey, looky there. Here's a parallel channel that kind of makes sense. I laid this in the other day, and lo and behold, what did we do? We came right down to it. Let me zoom in here a little bit so you can see better. So not only did we get right down to that parallel channel with the body candle closed, but we wicked all the way down and actually just a touch below that larger white parallel channel. So this is good as far as like not just total capitulation and rolling over and falling. Like if we fall below the white, good luck. I mean, I really haven't a clue how far down we could go because there's not really any significant further support unless you're going all the way back to like all-time lows, which I don't even mark on the chart. Like this red way up yonder, this line is the big payday dump. So and the only other one that I've dared even put in there as a potential target is 0011, which had some support way back in the day prior to the big payday. There are other levels of support further down, but it makes me nauseous to think about. So anyhow, with that being said, we've rejected off of the white parallel channel. We have closed inside the descending orange parallel channel, and it looks like we're trying to work our way up. I'd be looking for resistance again at the 21 EMA, which would put us back around the, depending on when we got there, as it's trending down, maybe 0015, something of that nature. If we can get above it, then you'd be looking for the top of the channel and then eventually up to the 55 EMA if we can turn this train around. If not, the trend is your friend. As much as it's true, I hate to say it, trend is down. So, it would be likely that we would continue to just kind of march down in this fashion until what I'm thinking is going to happen is a turnaround in the fall. I think we crab walk sideways with Bitcoin and Ethereum. As those things start to go, then Richard himself said, even shitcoins pump in a bull market. So
that's really unfortunate because we were just on the cusp of this banana reversal, and then he had to pull the unfollowing move, and then of course
there's always something. I mean, that's a longer discussion, which I'd be glad to carry on another time. But I know we want to focus on the charts during the time.
Toby, we don't do forward forecasts, but forecast us forwardly to where you think that this trend, if it continues. To the time period you just said.
If I had to do
no, just extend it to, you think, September,
right? I had to
right?
do a little drawing, and we were going to kind of do this number in that channel all the way down.
Yep, down.
And basically
down.
what you'd be looking at. Let's see if I can move this. All the way down. Get rid of that little guy.
What's the lowest point in September that you think that we would see a reversal? The lowest point on that white line.
Well, if you just follow the trend, which is what we've kind of been doing here with that channel, you're looking at a low of 3, like we lose a 0. We're 3 zeros and a 9-7 if we're at the first.
Nice.
And then at that point, we could start working our way up, and then there's going to be resistances along the way. So, that's likely. It could just go sideways, like straight sideways. I'm not as good as the drawings,
not financial advice. There's the penis pattern.
So basically that's kind of what to expect in the coming months. Now, moving on to Pulse token. This one, similarly, we had been following these yellow parallel channels down and to the right, and we kind of limped our way out to the side. Usually, you know, once you break the pattern, it'll either move up decisively or roll back into the pattern. It didn't. It created like this little sub channel above it, which it honored for a bit. You know, what was that, like maybe a month? And then lo and behold, we got the breakout of that smaller yellow channel above the bigger yellow channel. We're just going to nix that guy. Boom, he's no longer relevant. So you can see here with the yellow vertical line, we actually made the measured move, and we almost to the tick, you know, when we got up to 4058. But now, you know, this has already done it, shot its shot. So this is kind of no longer in play. And you can see it has fallen into another more shallow channel. So, you know, if you're looking at the slope of a channel and it's like steeply down, that's not as good as, you know, maybe a little more level. It indicates maybe some bottoming activity. So right now, similarly, we are held down by the 21 EMA, and we're between the 21 EMA and the midline of this new parallel channel. If we were to break above it, as the students of TA with Toby 1 may recall, typically when you break a parallel channel, you're going to be going the height of that channel at the point of the breakout. So, you know, if we get a good move here in the next few days, there could, you know, we could potentially break not only above the 21 EMA, but all the way through the 55 and encroach upon the 200 EMA and start working our way back up into this larger ascending.
What's that number
that we've had from
What's
the bottom.
that number to break out, by the way?
We need to break above 4055 at this point, but like as you know, because of the nature of this dissension, the longer we go, the lower that target is. So, you know, if we don't do it until the end of June and stay in this pattern until then you'd be looking at a breakout target of around 4052, and then it would have to break out. Usually it will back test, it'll go above the channel and it'll test that resistance again, and then it'll go. So, you know, ideally we get back in this broader pattern, you know, but right now it looks like it's cooling off a little bit as far as the steep slope to the downside that we had ever since the infamous, you know, abandonment of the firstborn child tweet. So yeah, so it's kind of rounding out a little bit here. We can see, right? All right. So that's Pulse. Moving on to Pulse X, similar situation. See, we had the steeper down, and then it kind of broke above it. We didn't get the full move on this. It kind of petered out. So you can see the orange parallel channel that it broke out of. The full measured move would have taken us up to 3 zeros and a 3. Didn't quite get there. We fell fairly short of that at 3 zeros, 2, or is that 4 zeros? 4 zeros, 2, 5, sorry. And hit that top of the channel and rejected. And down below the 21 EMA again, as you can see if we zoom in a little closer. So we're right there, very similarly to Pulse, getting rejected on the 21 EMA. So same rules apply, you know, rinse and repeat. It's kind of the same discussion here with this one. If we can start working our way up, it looks like, you know, with a shallower slope, that would be and technically, I mean, these are daily candles. So dailies are, you know, the lower time frame you go, the less reliable they are. So if you're looking at a 5-minute chart, I call that like the crackhead chart. Because, I mean, you can't really get a good read on what's going to happen longer term on a short-term chart. So, like 4 hours, like the lowest I'll go to try to pick a pattern. Daily's pretty solid. Daily usually can give you a pretty good indication of where things are going or where they're likely to meet support and resistance. So with this, you know, we had a low here back on June 1st of 401973, 1973. That was a good year. And now we have a higher low at 4020. So, you know, not a huge differential there, but it's moving in the right direction. So, you know, there's a theory here that this could be a new bottom, and then we start working our way up gradually. And then if we did a full breakout of this potential pattern, similarly to on Pulse, if we broke out of that, same deal, we'd be breaking above the 55 EMA. Obviously, we'd be, you know, even if we get to the top of the channel, we'll have broken the 21. So, you know, I would look for us to get to the top of the channel, maybe come back down, test off the 21, then start working our way up. So probably more realistic toward the end of the month to maybe have another shot at breaking the pattern. And you can also kind of see intervals, right? As far as like when it touches the top, how long it takes until it hits the bottom, how long it takes to hit the top again, and so forth. So we're kind of doing this weird middling situation. So, you know, could it roll over and hit the bottom before trying to touch the top of the channel again? Sure. Could we try to go sideways from here and then work up? Sure. But yeah, if we broke out at the end of June and did the full measured move, that'd bring us back to 4 zeros and a 3. So, you know, considerably better, about a 50% move from where we are now. So I would be happy with that. Moving right along, Hex, the younger twin brother of the two. This is PHEX. This one's kind of gnarly and a little scary. Sorry. But we've got the ascending orange channel that we've been watching for a while. We broke below that. Looked like we tried to fight our way back in. You can see how we just got to it, and it was like, nope, not coming back into this channel, sir. And it's kind of whittled along sideways, and then it took this downturn back May 9th. And then we've been trending down ever since. Trend is your friend, blah, blah, blah. Had a little breakout from this yellow descending channel. Pretty much made that move up to 007. Wick down hard. So big rejection off the top of this. So, and now we're just barely hanging onto the bottom of this white channel. As you can see, this big vertical orange line, that is the measured move of a full breakdown. Typically, when you break a pattern, that's how far down you'll go. But since we tried to get back in, and I wouldn't really consider the breakdown happening until maybe around that May 4th, May 5th, May 6th mark when we started this big downtrend, I would measure it from here. So, and I'm always looking for confluence. And where does that line up? That lines up on the 0036, which was previous support way back at the beginning when we launched.
What's that number?
For now.
So this could be a situation with this one where we're just going to slowly work our way down that trend line, even though we've started to kind of kick out the side door of this yellow channel and starting to go sideways with a lesser slope. The trend is your friend. So it could be a similar situation where we trend down to those numbers.
What number is that?
The all-time low of PHEX, which would be, if you count the wick, you're looking at 003. If you count the candle body close,
yay, 2-to-1 ratio achieved.
Well, maybe.
Again.
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see where EHEX is at that point. But the ratios are definitely tightening. The market seems to be deciding. So we'll see if anyone puts their elbow on the scale again. But yeah. So I mean, to me, it looks a little dicey. It looks like, this is an area to be wary of. If we were to hit that, I would expect strong support. If not, it's kind of like the opposite of a blue sky breakout. You don't know really how low it could go, like if it goes beyond that. So sorry to be gloomy and doomy, but hey, let's bring out the clown child of the family, Ink. Everybody loves Ink. Ink's hilarious. Everybody loves Ink, right? So Ink, similarly, we had these ascending parallel channels, broke above it, made the move, but then rolled over. And of course, that was the infamous, I abandoned EHEX back in March. And then we started working our way down, right? And similarly, we had this downward slope here that has kind of flattened out. We're trying to stay on this yellow line here. We're kind of picking at it above and below. And I bet you dollars to donuts if I zoom in. Yep, there's our lovely 21 EMA. So same deal. Tried to get above it on that breakout the other day when everything pumped about 20%. Got rejected back down, sold into very strongly. Last couple of days have had some good moves on Ink. And we're on at an indecision candle. So anytime you see a doji like this, it's called a spinning top, where it's like the body and then the wicks are about the same length. So imagine the top, right? Indecision. Don't know which way it could go. So right now we're literally sitting right at the 21 EMA. It's an indecision candle. I'd be curious where the daily closes. Ideally, similar to one of the previous charts we were looking at, we have a higher low here. So this could be indicative of a trend reversal. But, the evidence isn't really strong enough yet for me to say with any conviction that that's what's going to happen. But I could see a move up to around the $3 mark, maybe up to maybe 3 and a nickel. And that would be really the testing grounds to see if we could break out. At that point, too, the 55 EMA is probably coming down to meet us. So that would be the new resistance. So if we can get above $3, then, we can get back into this bigger channel that we were talking about before. And then, work our way up to the midline about 430. We get back to the top of the channel at about 650. And then, then we can talk about some fun times. And typically what happens too, it seems, as Ink will pump and then sell off, a lot of those profits seem to rotate into the other core coins. So if this one wins, it's going to be, I think a win for the other things as well. But that in as fast as I could do it with blown out pupils.
Thank you, Toby. Last question for NerdGrl, because we'd like to keep this strictly to 1 hour format. We're already a little bit over, but since we have you on, before we let you go, because I heard you mentioned it a few times during today's conversation. Cultish. Are we a cult?
Yes.
We are not a cult.
Yes, you have all of the characteristics of a
Or
cult. broken this
What are
down.
the 4 characters of a cult?
Question, let me answer it. So, you ask me a question. Let me answer.
Charismatic leader.
Before I got into cryptocurrency, I was getting my PhD in religious studies. I dropped out of the PhD program and ended up applying the theory behind my dissertation to understanding the evolution of tribalism and cryptocurrency. I'm not using the term cult as an insult, but there are characteristics of cults that every cult or high control group has. And inarguably, yes, we're a cult.
How so?
I mean, I've broken it all down in a long stream with Joe Hexotic several years ago. I don't know.
I know, and I've watched that. There is the 4 characteristics of the cult. Charismatic leader.
Every characteristic and explained every way in which the group fits into those characteristics. Now, that said, not everybody who likes Hex and Pulsechain and PulseX and Richard Hart products is in the cult, but a cult does exist. Yes.
I concur. Hey,
Yeah,
can I add?
Right, cult brands are tremendously successful. It's one of the things that I look for in cryptocurrency communities when I'm considering investing is like, how much of a cult-like following does this have? It's one of the reasons that I liked Hex in the first place. So I'm not saying that cult brands are bad. That's a negative thing. You asked the question, are we a cult? The answer is yes.
Are Coca-Cola drinkers cultists?
I mean, yes, some of them are, but mostly I think, like there's not a huge amount of like, I like Coca-Cola and you like Pepsi, so we can't be friends, right? Like that's kind of the difference.
Well, it's always in the back of my head that I should maybe ditch the girl on the first date if she can't drink Coke. It's like, if you're Pepsi, get the fuck out of here, man.
She doesn't drink either because they're horrible for you.
Then we wouldn't even have a first date.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well,
hey, can
what does she want to drink? Champagne? And these prices?
How about water?
I'm really curious.
Sugar,
NerdGrl's
water,
take
purple.
on this.
What's
I'm
up?
really curious in NerdGrl's take on something because it's like I was guilty of doing something early on when she was talking about toxic hexagons. And I bristled at that term because to me it seemed like such a small subset. I didn't want to be concerned, right? I wanted to turn a blind eye to it. From her extreme experience in other communities and whatnot, she called now correctly that toxicity, it's kind of like a rotten apple in the barrel, can spoil the bunch and can be the breakdown of a community. So, she absolutely nailed that. It was not something that I wanted to hear at the time. And I was resistant to it, thinking that she was fudding Hex, right? That she was fudding the bags or she had an ulterior motive. Her and I have cleared the air on that long ago, and apologies have been made. But, I'm curious what you think now as far as the yin and the yang of cult and then a toxic faction of that cult and how normal that is and how likely it is. Are there any indicators that would say because the cult has these parameters in place or these members in place, you're likely to endure and maybe squash the toxicity and pivot to a more happy, acceptable cult? Have you seen that with like Pulsechain and other things? Or I'm just curious of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think specifically the thing that you didn't like that I said was it was before the sacrifice for Pulsechain. And I said that with the launch of the chain, we were going to see the community splinter because there were going to be people who were launching.
I didn't want to hear that.
And you didn't want to hear that at all.
No.
Absolutely happened, right? Like,
yeah, totally.
I wasn't like speaking out of my butt. I was like,
right.
I was saying I have experience with this. I've seen it with, religions that religious communities that I've spent time with. I've seen it in other crypto communities that I've spent time with. I'm not postulating that this may happen. I am telling you it's gonna happen. Right. But yeah, so I mean, I do see less and less toxicity as people become more aware of the fact that for Pulsechain to survive, it needs people who aren't just staking Hex and providing liquidity for core coins, because a chain can't survive with just this small community. For us to grow, we need to attract new protocols. We need to bring new people, and that requires more things. And people are becoming more and more aware of that. So I see the toxicity in the Hex and Pulse community on a uptrend or a downtrend. I am like, keeping that, right? So
Right.
a downtrend, but in this case, that's certainly a positive thing. I see less of it. I see people who used to be maximalists, talking lightly, at least about other things, feeling like it's okay if other people like other things, even if they don't. And I also have seen my inbox flooded with apologies, like the ones from you, from people who are like, wow, I'm really sorry for, insinuating that you had some kind of ulterior motive or were wrong. So I see that trend has reversed from the time that I've talked about it, at least from my perspective, right? And that's not like it's not that I see everything. I definitely don't, but that's my view. I've seen it change, so early Christians were super proselytizing, right? And they would during the Crusades, they would go and murder anyone who didn't convert, who refused to convert. They were killing, entire civilizations, and people were converting just, in name only, just to live. But we see that now today, Christians live peacefully with people from other religions, from, other Christian religions, from other Abrahamic religions, from religions that are not core tied to Christianity at all. So it does happen that over time, the extremist views get reversed. So yeah, if that's
cool.
What was that about porn again, please?
Oh, stop. But one last little add on there. Do you see Richard's recent unfollowing being kind of an indication of?
We're not allowed to talk about that, Toby. We're not allowed to talk about that.
Well, hang on. Just as an indication that maybe it's indicative that we are going to now see kind of like the market decided with EHEX and PHEX.
Mm-hmm.
Now with that other external force of maybe daddy's not going to like this.
Toby didn't watch the first half of the show.
I told you I didn't.
We're going over.
I feel like we're going to make a more positive move over long term.
Yeah, I think
DJ, call it, man. Come on.
Yeah, I don't think so, but yeah.
Yes.
So let's do half an hour more.
I do, and if you watch, you can see all of the reasons why.
Got it. I will. I'll go back and watch. All right.
I thought a cult always had something abusive or exploitative towards its members, and we don't have that going.
Remember where you were rich?
Final characteristic of cult would be exploitation of any kind. So sexual exploitation, financial exploitation, emotional exploitation. Those are all examples of exploitation that could occur. A lot of people would say, and I'm not saying that I do, I'm saying that a lot of people would say that financial exploitation occurred.
DJ, I think just to clarify, you're spelling cult with an N. That's the wrong word.
Wow, again.
NerdGrl, we have 130 people watching live. About to close out the show. You have the last word. Anything else you'd like to say, or where can people find you if they like to follow you?
Yeah, if you would like to follow me, you can find me on X. I'm NrdGrl007 with no vowels. If you're going to get mad because I talk about things that you don't like or disagree with, don't follow me. Because I will talk about things that you don't like. So,
And
Fair.
on that note,
outro.